everybody. Winter's just about over, so I thought I'd read my last winter book. And I don't know if it's my last one, but I like saying that. It's called Puddle Trouble, and it features Henry and Mudge. It is a chapter book, The Snow Glory, Puddle Trouble, and The Kittens, all of which are darling stories. The Snow Glory. It's a kind of flower. When the snow melted and spring came, Henry and his dog Mudge stayed outside all the time. See, that's what we're going to have now in springtime. Henry had missed riding his bike. Mudge had missed chewing on sticks. They were glad it was warmer. One day when Henry and Mudge were in their yard, Henry saw something blue on the ground. He got closer to it. Mudge, he called. It's a flower. Mudge slowly walked over and sniffed the blue flower. Then he sneezed all over Henry. Ah, Mudge, Henry said. Later, Henry's mother told him that the flower was called a snow glory. Can I pick it? Henry asked. Oh, no, said his mother. Let it grow. So Henry didn't pick it. Every day he saw the snow glory in the yard, blue and looking so pretty, he knew he shouldn't pick it. He was trying not to pick it. But he thought how nice it would look in a jar. He thought how nice to bring it inside. He thought how nice it would be to own that snow glory. Every day he stood with Mudge and looked at the flower. Mudge would stick his nose into the grass all around the snow glory, but he never looked at it the way Henry did. Don't you think that the snow glory has been growing long enough? Henry would ask his mother. Let it grow, Henry, she would say. Oh, Henry wanted that snow glory, and one day he just knew he had to have it, so he took Mudge by the collar and he stood beside the snow glory. Oh, what's he going to do? I'm going to pick it, Henry whispered to Mudge. I've let it grow a long time. Henry bent his head and he said in Mudge's ear, now I need it. And Mudge wagged his tail, licked Henry's face, then put his big mouth right over that snow glory and he ate it. No, Mudge, Henry said, but too late. There was a big blue flower in Mudge's belly. I think he thought he said, now I need it. I said, needed, not eated, Henry shouted. He was so mad because Mudge took his flower. It was Henry's flower, and Mudge took it. And Henry almost said, bad dog, but he stopped. He looked at Mudge and looked back at him with soft brown eyes and the flower in his belly. Henry knew it wasn't his snow glory. He knew it wasn't anybody's snow glory, but just a thing to let grow. And if somebody ate it, it was just a thing to let go. Henry stopped feeling mad. He put his arms around Mudge's big head. Next time, Mudge, he said, try to listen better. Mudge wagged his tail and licked his lips, and one blue petal fell from his mouth into Henry's hand. Henry smiled, put it in his pocket, and they went inside. Chapter 2, and the name of the book, Puddle Trouble. In April, it rained day after day after day after day. Henry was getting bored. Mudge was chewing up everything in the house. So Henry said, let's play outside anyway. He put on his raincoat and sneakers and went outside with Mudge. Henry forgot to ask his father if that was all right. Oops, probably should always do that, right? Parents need to know where you are. When Mudge stepped into the wet grass, he lifted his paws and shook them. Too bad you don't have sneakers, Henry said, and he walked in a circle around Mudge. Squish, 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 squish. Mudge listened and looked at Henry. Then he got closer to Henry and wagged his tail and shook the water from his big, wet, furry body all over Henry. Henry wiped the water from his face. Ah, Mudge. The two of them went walking, and down the road they found a big puddle, a giant puddle, a lake puddle, an ocean puddle, and Henry said, Wow. He started running. Mudge got there first. Splash! Mudge. Muddy water all over Mudge. Splash! Muddy water all over Henry. It was the biggest, deepest puddle they had ever seen, and they loved it. When Henry's father called for Henry and didn't find him, he went outside. He looked down the road. Splash, he heard. He put on his raincoat and went walking. Splash, he saw. Henry's father saw Mudge with a muddy face and a muddy tail and mud in between. Henry's father saw Henry with a muddy face and muddy sneakers and muddy in between, and he yelled, Henry! No more splashes, just a boy and a dog dripping. Hi, Dad, Henry said with a little smile. Mudge wagged his tail. Henry, you know you should have asked me first, Henry's father said. I know, said Henry. I'm surprised at you, Henry's father said. I'm sorry, said Henry. I don't know what to do with you, Henry's father said. Henry looked sad. You should ask permission. Then Mudge wagged his tail, licked Henry's hand, and shook the water from his big, wet, furry body all over Henry and Henry's father. Mudge! Henry yelled. Henry's father stood there with a muddy face and muddy shoes and muddy in between, and he looked at Mudge and he looked at Henry and he looked at the big puddle. Then he smiled. Wow, he said, and jumped in. He splashed water on Mudge. He splashed water on Henry. He said, next time, ask me along. Henry said, sure, Dad. And Henry splashed him back. That sounds like quite a fun adventure. Chapter 3. And probably one of my very favorite chapters in all of Henry and Mudge. And there are a lot of Henry and Mudge books. More than 30, I think. The kittens. In May, the cat who lived next door to Henry and Mudge had a litter of kittens. There were 5 kittens. One was orange, one was gray, one was black and white, and 2 were all black. The kittens sometimes stayed in a box in their front yard to get some sun while the mother cat rested. One day, Henry and Mudge peeked in the box. They saw tiny little kitten faces and tiny little kitten paws and heard tiny little kitten meows. Mudge sniffed and sniffed and sniffed. He wagged his tail and sneezed and sniffed some more. Then he put his big head into the box, and with his big tongue, he licked all 5 kittens. Henry laughed. Do you want some kittens of your own? He asked Mudge. Mudge grunted and wagged his tail again. Whenever the kittens were in their front yard, Henry and Mudge visited the box. Henry loved their little noses, and he had even given them names. He called them Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Henry loved planets, too. Those are the name of 5 of our 9 planets. 8 if you don't count Pluto. Well, Henry was at school one day. A new dog came up Henry's street. The 5 kittens were sleeping in the box in their yard. Mudge was sleeping in Henry's house. When the new dog got closer to Henry's house, Mudge's ears went up. When the new dog got even closer to Henry's house, Mudge's nose went in the air. And just when the new dog was in front of Henry's house, Mudge barked. He barked and barked and barked, and Henry's mother opened the door, and just as Mudge ran out the door, the new dog was in the neighbor's yard, looking in the neighbor's kitten box. And just as the new dog was putting his big teeth into the box, Mudge ran up behind him. Snap went Mudge's teeth, and the new dog saw him. Snap went Mudge's teeth again. When the new dog looked back at the box, snap went Mudge's teeth again when the new dog looked back into the box of kittens. Mudge growled. He looked into the eyes of the new dog, and stood ready to jump, and the new dog backed away from the box. He didn't want the kittens anymore. He just wanted to leave, and he did. Mudge looked at the kitten box. He saw the tiny faces and all 5 skinny tails and 20 little paws. He reached in and licked all 5 kittens. Then he lay down beside them and waited for Henry. Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn went back to sleep. I love a happy ending. That Mudge was there for his friends, the kitties. That's pretty cool. And I think it actually dogs can do stuff like that. My dogs can hear any dog far away. Now they can't see them because they're inside my house, but they know when there's a dog in the neighborhood. Very interesting.